Haha, I tricked everybody. When I was going live a minute early. True humility. True humility only comes once you have learned to forgive yourself. True humility only comes once you have learned to forgive yourself. The humility on this exoteric standpoint, when they teach us humility or they try to tell us we got to be humble to what's coming, to humble what's happened. It's about the humility to your own heart. Once you learn how to remove those burdens from your heart, do that work, put in that work, get to this level, as I adjust myself to my microphone, and you get to that level, you realize this shit's easy. I was thinking right before I hit the go live button, and I had a thought about, I remember always seeing, as I'm sage in the area, getting the area says, that you coming in and drop that out share, see some of y'all already dropped those shades in here. Share. Let the knowledge do what it's supposed to do. To the weak of mind, to the weak of heart, they'll think this is a spell. I am casting it. That's my purpose. But going back into what I said earlier, true humility to yourself is within your knowing, within your trusting, within your knowing, within your understanding of what you know. Standing by your truth. The truth doesn't need to be argued. The truth doesn't need to be argued. The truth does not need any defense. The truth doesn't need defense. It doesn't need to be argued. It doesn't need to be formed into anything else, because it's going to do it by itself. So we're talking about this quiet storm. The ability to actually tap into your higher self and the things that leave you connected to this space based upon your ego. Your ego thinks right and wrong. Your ego thinks up and down. Your ego thinks that's red, that's blue. Your ego gives you this facilitating of thoughts based upon the programming that's already within your mind, that's in your subconscious. So to battle something, you can get all the information that you want to get. Take the aspect of, you can say everything that you want to say about white people being created. They were an invention by us. Get all of the mythos, read the philosophy, get all that information. But if you still give them power based upon white supremacy, if you still give them power within racism, white supremacy, you're still giving them a definition. White supremacy, something that is supreme, does not have to speak that it's supreme. It's the truth. I don't have to speak that I am supreme. I don't have to speak that. My energy speaks that. This is you interfacing with your energy on that next level. I don't have to speak on being anything that's already within the definition of where I'm at, based on their understanding of it. And that's one thing that we get lost in as we go forward, is we're trying to give form to a catalyst of a definition, or give footnotes and points to a definition that's already there. I said it before when I was talking about with Phil Valentine, and he had said, if they're not on your frequency, stop dealing with them. What I've dealt with over the last couple of weeks, especially this week, has been nothing short of leveling up. What I've dealt with over these last couple of weeks has been nothing more of leveling up. I'm even drinking out of a glass. Has been nothing more, nothing less than leveling up. Remember that humility does not come, that the spirit cannot work through you if you're not humble to your own heart. So this goes into the aspects of when you're in sync with your energy, when you're starting to sync with your energy, something as simple as your discipline is meditation. Meditation is a moment to bring in all of that energy and center yourself. But if your lifestyle does not match how you meditate, what you're meditating upon, your lifestyle don't match it, the meditation doesn't work. If your mindset is in a space of you want liberation, you want freedom, you want to expand and go to the next level, but your lifestyle does not match that, this is where we get into gnosis or the Gnosticism, the Gnostic text. The Gnostic texts dictate humanity as the most putrid, devoid, vile creation stage. It is the most vile, putrid stage. You really have to start understanding that context into understanding who you truly are. You'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I've been going through it with consults all week. Consultations, consults, counseling all week. It's a shedding process. You're coming into a space. I might end up turning the light on as it gets darker. You're coming into a space. You're coming into your reality that this. You're coming into the space that this reality no longer serves you, especially with retrograde coming around. Venus went direct. Challenges and aspects about everybody would look externally like, my relationship has been like this, or my relationship's been on the rocks. Your relationship's only a reflection of something that's happening within inside you. If you have not learned how to deal with it, it's only going to repeat itself. If you're still seeing things based upon right and wrong, up and down, this happened here, and you haven't learned to see if it serves you, if it doesn't serve you, you're still within that space. Therefore, you're still feeding that energy. Your energy, all this new power that you bringing in that you want to embrace, you want to claim. If your mindset is still within the space of your humanity, you're not, that energy is going to look strange to you. It's not going to come as it needs to come. Or it actually is coming as it needs to come. That interface is way different now for you. You're starting to see things differently. But it's based upon you stepping into that level, you stepping into that space. Yeah, you stepping into that level based upon that space. Spirit is hitting me super hard with that. Stepping into that space, to that reality of yourself, of what you need to let go of. Now, for a lot of people, I've done a couple of readings, and I was taking them out of the aspect of what's right or wrong, and you got to go into the aspect of, does it serve you, does it not serve you? That's where a lot of people are stuck at. Motherfuckers are so stuck on white people, and they're being so horrible to this country, and they're doing all this horrible shit to our earth, and That contradicts the aspect of understanding what death is. I'm actually gonna turn that light on. Had to turn that light on because it was getting dark very, very fast. But you're taking this thought process of they're doing what they were designed to do. They're doing what they were designed to do, to destroy. So everything under preservation, everything under purpose, centering, they're following their script. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. I watched the Bobby Hemmett lecture. I watched a clip of a Bobby Hemmett lecture like Monday or Tuesday. And someone was like, why would they destroy their own shit? Like white people destroying their own shit. They're doing what they're supposed to do. It made me go even deeper when I was talking, like the first time everyone was talking about the riots and see, they're putting bricks and stuff. Who put them bricks? Who puts a perfect pallet of bricks right there beside the riot? What you're seeing in real fucking time is they are the catalyst for destruction. They are the reflection for destruction. They are the reflection for you to look at humanity for what the fuck it is. They are the catalyst and the reflection for you to see humanity for what the fuck it is. Based upon you being in balance with yourself and true to your own heart, will you really see it as the truth of what it is? Or will you try to say, not all of them are that bad? That's like me looking that's like me looking in my life and there's somebody around me that's not getting right, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter how I speak, what information I give them, what I give to them. And I'm saying, I'm going to give them one more shot because they show me this glimmer of hope that they might get it. They're not on the frequency. They're not open to the channel yet. You left the channel. You left the TV on in the living room. It's time for them to actually sit there with it in the space by themselves. That's the reflection that is showing you. On the other hand, it's time for you to sit down in the space by yourself. It's time for you to step forward by yourself. If you've been sitting, waiting for somebody else to actually get it or go forward with something, it's time for you to stand up and take that step. If you've been running, not letting nobody catch up or not letting yourself catch up, it's time for you to sit the fuck down. You got one or two sides, one or two choices, one or two forks. If you don't keep running and not catching up to you, allowing yourself to catch up to yourself, the information that you need, that knowledge that you need, or you're going to be the one sitting there waiting for something to come into play that doesn't exist at that space anymore. Transcending. It's time to transcend. You're transcending. This level is showing you exactly what the fuck it needs to show you in real fucking time. So everything that you're doing, if you've been putting in your true work, true of your heart, that true work of your heart, you ain't got shit to worry about. This is for the ones, I've been thinking about it as I've been going through the retrograde, and the levels and the areas where I was at, where I was going through something and I had to like come into a realization for myself, I don't have to do those anymore. I can revisit those points. Those points can come back up on across the board, and I can look at those points. And since I can now, if I've already applied what I needed to apply to that point, I can move forward. The things that I got to apply something to, they're applied to. The things that I don't have to apply, that I've already did the application, now I got the interpretation, now I can teach from. That's you leveling up. What you seeing outside, motherfuckers ain't never died before, is based upon they need to die. Your energy that you keep bringing into that space, that this mindset of unity on this level in humanity, kill that shit. Kill that shit. This level based upon humanity in your identity, kill that shit. Because that's what's holding you back. The spiritual attacks that are happening, spiritual attacks only happen for one or two reasons. We already understand that something has to be within you for the spiritual attack to actually come at you. But the spiritual attack only comes from ascending or descending. If a spiritual attack comes from a descending space, it's based on something that you have not let go of or something that you have held on to based into that space down below that would disable you to transcend. That's when it's coming from the descending space. We're going to get into Mandela effect and string theory tonight. Everything that you've been doing has been a part of string theory. The string theory, the Mandela effect, chaos math, all of these theories, when imputed into your mind based upon the program that was already put into your subconscious, acts out the original program. So if my mindset is still stuck within oppression, I say this almost every fucking week because it's supposed to be said. If your mind's stuck on oppression, white supremacy, and white supremacy, oppression, and Black Lives Matter, fuck Black Lives Matter. There, I said it. In these aspects, in an old program, any information that you bring and come into, if it does not serve on that server of information, it's going to kick it out. It's either going to kick it out or it's going to create another program it's going to create what's going to be a sub-program based on the original program. So if your mindset is stuck within white supremacy and they're so dastardly and they keep inventing these ways to destroy us, then you can't look at string theory for what the fuck it is. That understanding of the neurons within your mind, within your divine universe, as above, so below. So as you think it, you feel it. You're going to be thinking that something outside of you is trying to stop you. When in reality, the only thing that's stopping you is that thought. So it's inside you. It's always been inside you. This is the depth of understanding of getting tapped into your energy. Sometimes some of the people that are around you in your space, if they're not on the level, they haven't evolved to the level that you're wanting them to so badly based on unity, based on what you've known, that you've known them for so long, for you've known your mother, you've known all these people for so long. You're just waiting for them to cling on and actually get it. And you get that glimmer of hope, then they shut back down with a bunch of other questions and stray away from it. The reason that they keep straying away from whatever you're telling them is because you're not leaving them any space to actually have to gravitate. The reason that they keep going through the space is on both sides. Some people are meant to be sheep. Some people are meant to be sheep. Others are meant to be shepherds. When the shepherd gets hungry, he becomes the wolf. So there's the believer or the doer based upon belief. There's the thinker, the shepherd based upon belief. And there's the wolf based upon the knowing. The wolf is the one that applies. The devil is the one that applies the logic. Makes you act out your desires to that aspect. Coming to that crossroads when you have that thought and you want to put it into something, oh, that'll serve my purpose, but who really made me do it? It's about ownership, 100% responsibility about the shit that you need to do. Back to what I was saying before I lose my train of thought. So when you're coming into this space, like right now in good old North Carolina, 3 hours ago, yeah, 3 hours ago, the governor's warning thing about nigga, you gotta have a mask on at all times went into effect. And it's another aspect and thought process. Why would that make me upset? Yeah, man, they're talking about it's about conforming and control and this, and this. My mind saying ain't on that shit, so I don't give a fuck to put on a mask or not. You mean I get to put on, you mean if you see me out and I got on my bandana or my hat, you mean I get to put on a mask so I get to really hide my face from the fucking humans? With this shirt on, these on my neck, you want me to put on a mask and a hat? I'm wearing a hat already, and you want me to put on a mask and go out amongst your sheep? You want me to go out amongst your sheep wearing, okay, so they bet. You have to learn how to do it in plain sight. That's all it's showing you. Instead of complaining about it, celebrate it. It gives you another fucking advantage. That is the aspect of coming into your higher self and understanding that you're a fucking God. Understanding that you're a fucking higher entity. Using everything that comes at you, everything that comes to you, that is meant to destroy the weakest, the humanity, that's meant to destroy humanity, that's meant to control humanity, that's meant to destroy mankind. You're a fucking God. You're a fucking goddess. You're a fucking titan. Use that shit to your fucking advantage. I already put the visualization in my head before I walked out of my house this morning. That I have I don't know where the hell my mask is at, but I have a mask and it's like the bottom half of the skull and it has like the spine showing. And I was like, nigga, I'm about to go purge. I'm about to go to the health food store. I'm about to go to the health food store. I'm about to go to my spot for my candles and incense. I'm about to look like I'm purging. I'm about to look like the motherfucking Red Dead Redemption dude. I'm about to go out and look like the motherfucking, I forgot the Mortal Kombat character. The one that they brought back out here, he was like the gunslinger. I'm about to go out looking like that. Bet. You use these aspects to raise your level of imagination, that childhood aspect. The reason you can't imagine anything going on, the reason you can't imagine anything is because your mindset's stuck in, I can't imagine it getting any worse. All right, cool. You can't imagine it. We're going to show you it getting worse because it serves you a purpose. You've always been the orchestrator of this entire event. You've been the orchestrator. You are the one that writes this narrative. There is no fucking narrative to follow other than the one that you set in tone. There are no morals to be fed upon other than the morals that you set for yourself. There is no traditions other than the ones you set to the tone of yourself. Even the traditions of giving and paying homage to your ancestors has shifted because you are the ancestors. The shit that's on your heart that keeps you from being confident enough to speak with the ancestors, that's what's coming out. Now, if you want to be stuck in that time loop of running errands for your ancestors, for your spiritual guides, by all means, go ahead and keep doing it. But if you are tapping into that aspect of energy and you are going into the becoming, so you are humble to the beginning of your becoming and going through that phase, even when you build your altars, they're going to be different. I build altars as visual. build altars. My altars are set in tune, in sync to my aspects of me. What energy I'm working with in each space. So when I look at my altar over here to the left, and I got my candles lit, I got my skulls over there, so I know my skulls equate to skill. So I got the dark skull on my one side, I got the more light colored skull on the other side. So I'm equating through light and dark, and I'm working through that phase. I'm working through that space, doing what I need to do in my space. That's what that represents to me. So when I look at my space and I pour my drink to my ancestors, to my spirit, I do what they say because it's from a level of trust in me trusting in my becoming. 1 second. All right, we back. Based upon your becoming. Reach in the pocket for my other lighter. I have a lighter in every place in my fucking house for odd reasons. Like if I go outside and I don't have a lighter outside, there's a lighter in my pocket. I always have a lighter in my pocket. I have a lighter on my person. I have a lighter set around strategically and unconsciously for everything that I need to do. If I'm supposed to do with something in that space. Back what I was saying. In your becoming, ooh, that sounded deep. In your becoming, going to your higher self, it's not meant for anybody to chime in other than to ask a question. It's not meant for anybody to chime into what you're fucking doing to raise your consciousness, to raise you into your next level, other than to ask you a question. The question that they ask you is based upon, can you answer that question? Humble of your heart. This translates into more into the reflections. And that's where we're going to get into reflections first. During retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, one of the biggest things that I came into, and I actually have a conversation I got to do with a guy later on. But it was interesting because he was saying that he keeps attracting damaged people and they're always damaged women. And they keep doing this based upon what they think that I am. And then the question that I asked him was, what do you think you are? I asked him, what do you think you are? Because he already told me, he said, he thought that every time they look at him, they think of him as the player playboy type, the one that sleep with your best friend while you sitting there not paying attention. And that's why they did what they did. I said it's perception. Within you, they found the comfort in based on what they saw. Based on what they saw, not what they can envision. Based on what they saw, they acted based upon that emotion. You made them comfortable within your space to do exactly what they're doing based on what they think that you are or what you used to be. You being in the space of what you think based upon your identity is why they continuously do what they do. Because it's within you. So every time that you sit here out of your mouth and you chime off about Black Lives Matter, you chime off about we were slaves, you chime off that we were great, you chime off that we were this, that, and the third, they already have all that information. So they can have an answer for that. Oh, you were great, you were a king and a queen, you were a goddess, you were whatever the fuck you were, hit you over the head. You'll never be that shit again as long as we're here. As long as you're trying to face us, you'll never get there again. Oh, you were a slave. As long as you are needing and in want of something at this level, you'll always be a slave. They only got one function: to destroy. We can read every single book, and this is what the matriculation to that understanding took it to that level. We can read and say every other fucking day that the essence, the Eve gene, whatever you want to display it under, comes from the original source or the black woman. We can say that all fucking day. We can say the black man is God, the black woman is God, all fucking day. Your disconnect is applying it. Your disconnect is applying it. It's not a status. It's not a symbol. It's not something that you got to say every 15 fucking seconds. Once you build the stature of what it is that you are, everything that you do goes through that symbol. This is one of the things I remember when I was little, and one of my mentors that brought down to my attention. This is like after my pops passed. My father had passed. He was like, everything outside of you, your woman, your queen, your girl, whatever the fuck, your wife, is a direct reflection of you. But when he said it, he was like, that's not in physical. I remember him say he said it like once or twice. He only said it twice. Yeah, he only said this shit twice. It's not in the physical. And I remember he was having conversations with like the women that were in our training group. And he was like, that's not in the physical. Your man is a direct reflection of you. That's not in the physical. Only me and two others caught it. I caught it because it resonated, and I put it into that pocket for that rainy day fund in my mind to later on know to go back to it. Your physical representation on this plane is only dictated by what you're doing in the spiritual, what you're doing in your fucking mental. So me moving and transcending to a point to where no longer in this physical shit, this is that 5D consciousness awakening. The mundane human shit does no longer gives me anything but a longing for more, because now I'm in the understanding based upon the gnosis of my knowing, and in going through not understanding Gnostic texts and reading and reinforcing. I just ordered $430 I just ordered $430 worth of fucking books. Some that I've read cover to cover, some that I've read multiple times, but having that interface of that energy within my space that my claws can now stroke through. I was watching Castlevania earlier today. That's a fucking awesome fucking show on Netflix. Just to have that information at my fingertips, that's what it's about. When you're in this physical level, you're needing and wanting down at this level, if it's not matching what you're doing above up here, then of course it's always going to be obscured by your urges, by your mundane urges, your wants, your needs, what you thinking you wanting you need down here, that human thought, that sin, that lack of knowledge, the byproduct of ignorance. That thought process is what keeps you locked down here, not sinking into your shit. Long gone. So your mindset's not within that space. And I said that for a point. Oh, yeah. So if I'm not in balance in my mindset, in my wisdom that I've acquired through my knowing, to nurture and reinforced by the knowledge that I gain, this is that balance. This is the mayat. This is the balance in my mind. Then anything that comes towards me anything that comes to me will be in reflection, either for me to learn from or as a remnant to remind me of where I came from. This is the aspect when they say you can't forget your roots. You're not going to forget your roots. You're always going to have a constant You're always going to have that constant reminder of reflection to learn from, or the remnant in remembrance of where you came from, how far you came. Does it serve you? Does it not serve you? We get confused based upon the emotional backlashing and the emotional programming and the emotional trauma and the emotional triggers. I just want my people to be free. Did you ask them how they felt? I watched a very interesting Vlad TV. Tell you, like, I went down the fucking I went down the rabbit hole. I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube. Somebody's asked me for the link, so I'm sending them the link. I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube. Sometimes you just gotta allow yourself to, and this is another aspect, and we're gonna get into that tonight after we get into this reflection aspect. But I went down the rabbit hole and I came across a Boosie Badass clip video, and he was talking about the COVID-19 and the 1,200, someone owed him some money or whatever. And he said something in there that sparked and hit my spirit. In order for you to understand some shit, you got to ask the question you got to ask the question from both spaces. That's the only way you come into true understanding, is asking the question from both spaces. So if you're saying your people, you want your people to be free, it's coming based upon your identity because you're free. But did you ask them? Now you're asking that same question. What did you have to do to be free? To have your liberation, to have that moment of like, damn, nigga, everything make fucking sense now. What did you have to go through? The ridicule, the constantly having to dumb yourself down. I don't dumb myself down for nobody no fucking more. The thought process of 99% of the shit that you say you have to dumb down in order to deal with certain people. The aspect of once you in this space, you have to be devoid of, you're going into a singular mindset. Your mindset becomes singular because you are one. You are one vessel. You are one universe. You are one God. You are the God, the generator, the operator, the destroyer. You are you within your space as in one. Everything outside of you is a reflection of that one singular aspect, that one singular thought, that one string. So in theory, until it has a conjunction of thoughts, to create the other material on the other end will be based upon their thoughts and their perception, based on your thoughts and your perception of yourself. So if you're confident within yourself and you're truly confident within yourself, you've been doing your work, you're always doing your shadow work, you're coming to those moments and you're like, oh. Every time you go back to a moment, you're like, it's another aha moment. Oh, that's another part of my past. As you're moving forward, this is how you become in alignment, as above, so below. This is that correspondence factor. This is how you become what you need to become. This is how you are humble to the beginning process. The humanity feature is an afterthought. It's a tool. Ego is a tool. Once you have killed them off, they become tools because now you can work with them. Because now they're truly living. We have to take this aspect when we're thinking about this. When we start talking about the ancestors, they lived through me. But in the same time, we're saying they've transitioned and they're dead. That makes no fucking sense. Make it make sense to your higher self, not in thought, but in feeling. I know people, I know right the fuck now that if I'm sitting in my living room by myself, that based on the spaces within my space, my mind being transcended to that space, I know exactly where my grandmother's sitting. I know exactly where my cousin is sitting. I know exactly where my father is sitting. I know my grandmother sit right next to me because I remember every time we had a conversation, and imagine that I created that space in my mind that the energy, the principles that my grandmother taught me are right beside me at all fucking times. This is another aspect based upon possession that we get stuck in. Let them go forward as they need to go forward. You are working with the energy. You are working with the principles that they put into place. They have to come to rest. So if you having that, I had one a couple of months ago when I did my grandmother's crossing. When I did my grandmother's crossing, and I went to my higher self, became Somni, was at the crossroads with her. When I went to that space, it felt different because I was leading her to her rest. I remember the day in the hospital when I was sitting there in that hospital, and I remember the room got fucking dark, and it was like, if anybody seen fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, best way I can fucking explain it. Yu-Gi-Oh, you seen Constantine and Yu-Gi-Oh, but I use Yu-Gi-Oh. That's that childlike aspect. I use Yu-Gi-Oh because when I was in that space, the whole space got dark. It was just me and her. And for the first, I was interacting with it was full spirit on spirit interaction. And she was like, she ready to go. She was like, she ready to go. She want me. She said, I'm ready to go, and you're going to do my crossing rites. And I remember we were sitting there in that space, having that conversation. Lights came back on. My uncle walked in. My uncle and my cousins walked in. And I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew the day. I knew the time. I knew the moment. No one else needed to know the moment. No one else needed to know the time. I remember my uncle said he was coming back because we were in Raleigh. My uncle came back down. He was like, I'm about to go visit you. I'm about to go and visit her. You coming? I said, nah, I'm not coming. I remember I went to the house. My grandmother had a bunch of purple candles. She said, put on that Prince album she liked, that Raspberry Beret. That's one of her favorite songs. Put that song on. I drew the shit pulled out the cardboard, drew it on the fucking board, did what I needed to do, and I sent her on her way. What I carry on from her, since she's gone, she's transcended to that next level. What I carry on from her is her principles. The principles that she taught me when she was existing or living in this space, and the principles that transcended into her transcended space. The stuff that you're learning down here at this level, this is the intellectual part. This is the learning aspect. This is the intellectual part. The stuff that you take past this into your transcending, that is your intelligence and your genius. So my ability to got my like little velvet bag. So my ability to pull out these cards, again, I'm thinking about the movie Constantine with Balthazar when he was doing the coin. The same way he was sitting there rotating that coin is the same way I can sit there having a conversation with somebody. Ooh, two cards came up. We don't look at them. Oh, crap. Let it lie as it lies, Carlos. The same way I'm able to sit here and play with my cards, to allow my mind to play with the cards and allow myself to interface with the energy, is the same interfacing of energy I did with my aunt's crossing. This is you becoming in tune. Even the moments you learn how to use everything to your advantage and put everything into your favor. Because if you're living into your spiritual best life, you can use everything to your advantage because that's what it's set there for. If you're open to the learning, you can use anything as an aspect to learn. This is the aspect of someone telling you, don't let anybody tell you how to do what you need to do to get to your next level. The aspect within that is based, that concept, the context of that conversation is based outside of ego, outside of humanity. It's not saying, because someone asked me a question the other day, and I'm gonna show these two cards. We show it up like this. The Tower, King of Pentacles. Very interesting that those cards just came out of the deck at me during this time. Your infrastructure of your original thought is falling apart. But I was going into the aspect, wait, it'll come back to me. But the infrastructure of this space, based upon humanity, based upon that ego, this concept, the Mandela effect that is coming into that play of changing things around, you are initiating the Mandela effect every time you step forward into your transition to your higher self. Think about when they talk about the Mandela effect and they changed Forrest Gump, Life is Like a Box of Chocolates, and they changed that saying, or they went in and they changed out certain words. That's what you're going to be doing as you transition and go forward. You will no longer exist in certain spaces. That's what you got to become uncomfortable with. Not existing in certain spaces anymore based upon the identity. Your identity still stands there. So you acting out your identity is what has you locked in or the fuck you locked in. You're acting based on the routine of your identity. Acting based on the routine based upon your identity. I'm black. I'm a man. I'm a black man in America. I've been a slave. I'm oppressed, but I was a great king. You're acting out based on the identity. So if I acted out based upon that identity, I would still be whatever energy that I circulate and bring down and invoke, it would still be going into the old spaces based upon being a black man in America just trying to make it. Over the last months, in stepping into full God Occult Alchemist LLC, my entity, my brand, me, going forward in that aspect, I had to let go of the aspects of humanity because I wasn't there anymore. Because that's a longing for. I said it last week in the last week's lecture when I was talking like if I knew if I went back to that space, all the energy that I have cultivated over that last couple of months in this spectrum, but I've been cultivating it for fucking light years in the higher up, would be stuck matriculating down into that space. So I'd be making Red Lobster great again. I'd be making America great again. That's why the comment or the thought process, when you see, that's why I was telling that, like, when I say that, you get that Make America Great Again hat and you put it on your fucking altar, all of the energy that comes through that fucking symbol comes to you. You by default shut down you by default deflect, as in absorbing the energy to keep going forward. That's why the new slogan is Keep America Great Again. That's his new slogan campaign. Keep America Great Again. Let's keep America great. Our minds have to go outside of the aspect, and this is that science. Our minds have to go outside of the aspect of looking at it for face value. Because anybody that's really in that spiritual encompassing, we know to look at something as simple as a tarot card, a rune, a pendulum reading. We know that through our intuition, when our spirit guides us to look beyond it. That's the occult science. Look beyond it. So if I have a conversation with somebody, I'm always looking beyond it. That's the feminine aspect based on an unhealed perspective. How naturally our queens always want to get to the bottom of things. The cutoff is they're moving off of wisdom. So they're only able to nurture. The only thing that can nurture the knowledge based on that wisdom, based on that aspect, based on the logic and reasoning, is based on what they already know. So that's why you always have somebody, when they have a whole conversation and they sitting there yelling, and that's why women can have a whole conversation in their text messages, argue back and forth throughout the text messages with themselves. Because they've already put in their mind the entire conflict in their mind. They've imagined. So you've always had imagination. They've imagined, put it all in their mind in big ass caps. If he says this, I'm going to do this. If he says this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this, and this. Your masculine aspect with that knowledge, that's your masculine naturally. That's why the feminine paradigm, that's why the feminine aspect, the woman is the more spiritual by default, because they are of that space. They are created of that space and of that divine nature. The masculine is the knowledge of that nature. So that storm that erupts in that conversation, your woman can go to bed right the fuck now, have a fucking dream that you was cheating on her, will wake up and smack you in your fucking forehead. And that's just putting it light. Smack you in your forehead. The disconnect is, it's based upon algorithms and thought processes that have already been placed within her mind based on programming, what happened to her before. Something that she has not let go of. That's why your woman can go back. That's why your lady can go back to September 1st of 1998 and remember that day that you stepped out with Keisha, Brenda, Pam, Maya, Aaliyah. Feeling that you still have not brought her a reasonable doubt to the blueprint of thought process that was within your mind of you stepping forward into that space. Why you did it? I don't know, I just did it. Because you're not in tune. So your urges, this is how the urges come into effect. Your urges are based upon your ego. So you just needed to step out. You just needed to do this. You just need it. I can't explain it. You can't explain it, of course, because that's the spiritual aspect. But what you need to explain, but since you cannot explain it, you need to ask yourself the question, what gave you that urge in the first place to act out in that manner? What gives you the urge in the first place at this level to act out in that manner? What within this space gave you the urge to act out inside that manner? This is a bigger aspect and thought process because a lot of the conversations and the breakdowns in communication are because there are breakdowns in communication and actually having the communion with our true self. The breakdown in communication and reflection into a relationship and the things you interface with in the day-to-day of your life at this space is based upon the disconnect or the miscommunication of what you're doing in your own life, what you're doing with working on yourself. So every time I get in a relationship, that man cheat on me. Why he cheat on you? Because he said I wasn't doing this or doing this. You're looking at based on the images. I want you to actually take it into the thought process. That's the surface value shit. You got to look at it as, I would never think about doing this. Think about what it's connected to and what it triggers. Is it triggering your lack of transparency in yourself? The lack of transparency within yourself is built upon a lack of confidence within yourself. So you can't have that conversation on a deeper level. So you cannot matriculate or create on a deeper level in a deeper aspect because you are devoid of that into your understanding of yourself. So that storm that erupts for him to go out and do whatever the fuck he did, or her to do whatever the fuck she did, it's based upon an aspect within yourself that you have not come into balance with. It's based on an aspect within yourself that you have not come into balance with. That's why it keeps replaying itself. And every time it replays itself, it gets more horrific and more horrific and more horrific in your life. That's why it keeps popping up that way. Yesterday, I did my first overall fixed sign reading. And that's what I put on my Instagram. That's what I put on my Facebook. That's what I put on my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at PapaLucy666. Follow me on Instagram at PapaLucy666. Follow me on Facebook. My name will be changing to Papa Lucy on there as well. But right now it's Rod Calder Nijas. That is the last aspect in my old self. That is the last aspect of the humane part of myself until I change my name on there. This is the aspect of privatizing yourself. But we're going to get into that after I finish this aspect. The reflection of what's going on in your life, if you're still going about it as every time you get to it like, yeah, you're right, or nah, you're wrong, or you're saying it based on, what does it mean? You're still within thought. You're still within that space. Your energy is still lighting up to that space, telling you, idea, what does this fucking mean? What is the purpose of that being in your life? What is the purpose of that being in your life? What is the purpose of that being in your... It's not on your fucking frequency. It's not on your vibration. You've already expounded everything that you needed to say at that level, intellectually. It's time for you to activate your fucking genius. It's time for you to activate your fucking genius. Your genius is your wanting to know. That what drives and brings you into cultivating your purpose. And your passion is always going to be to get intelligence. Your passion is always going to be your wealth. Your passion is always going to be your abundance. Your passion is always going to be your prosperity. But your purpose is what you cultivate to tap into your purpose, your passion. Your purpose. Yeah, your purpose, your abundance, your wealth, your prosperity, your passion, not purpose. That's what you're cultivating through your purposes. So if you're still stuck within a mindset, stuck around certain algorithms, around certain fucking people that are not on the next level, even in the physical aspect of, think about the physical aspects. They're not talking about stocks. They're not talking about investing. They're not talking about preventative maintenance. They're not talking about school. They're not talking about all of these aspects based upon humanity. That is a reflection of you not tapping in. If they're not on that level down here, on that frequency, when they track, they're not on that frequency down here at this level. So when your vibration and that light hit down at this level and they don't connect to these points, what is it showing you what you're not fucking connected to? If that's what you want, if that's what you desire, if that's truly what you fucking desire in yourself, what do you have to connect to in yourself on your wavelength to make you understand, to make that shit pop off? That's tapping into your greatness. That's tapping into the alignment of your fucking mind. That's allowing that quiet storm that's always going on in your mind, tapping into that quiet storm, tapping into that memory bank, and using all of that information, because you're cultivating this new space by removing and deleting old programs. The program of friendship and longevity and unity and oppression, they're all connected to the original program of oppression and survival. Your job is based upon your survival. I looked at a post the other day and I fucking shared that shit in every fucking group that I'm in. When that shit said a felony can stop you from getting a G.O.D, but it will not stop you from getting an LLC. I was like, that's the mindset that you are in. It is a felony for you to be human. Human is the prison planet. Earth, this Cyphra down here at the bottom part of the tree of life, that's the prison. So you want to be known as a felon. The felon Fed camp, in Fed camp, we had Pumas. Fed camp, we had big ass TVs. If you've never been to Fed camp, the best movie to watch to understand the mindset of Fed camp, and it had such a fucking algorithm to it, was when you look at DMX and I want to say it's Exit Wounds. When old boy was sitting there in his prison and they had niggas bringing him steaks and shit in the fucking prison, and he was sitting there and he was getting his steaks and he was getting his food and he was looking real fucking lavish in there and there on his Pumas and shit. That's Fed camp. That's the highest level. When you look at the entertainers, they're in Fed camp. They're at the highest level. They're in the maximum security part of the prison. They're always being seen. They're always being monitored. That's the aspect about the entertainers. They're always being seen. They're always being monitored. They're always under a house arrest bracelet because they're always under the all-seeing eye based upon this level, because they need to be seen and matriculated within that light. So you keep giving them your attention. I wish that they would say this and this. They're stuck within that space because they know within that space they can. That's why they cannot do anything else outside of that fucking space, because it would take away from what the fuck they're getting. That's the aspect in understanding what this level is. If your mindset is stuck in oh my God, COVID-19 is doing this to this, and this, and everybody go kill a bunch of fucking Africans, and you're stuck within that mindset. Yes, it's cool to have the compassion for it and understanding that they're stuck with it. The compassion aspect is understanding that they're within that space, accepting, they have to accept that within that space. This is the thing that we keep getting messed up based upon emotion. I'm every fucking body. This is when we get stuck based upon emotion. So we get stuck within the paradigm of they'll put up the only way that the COVID-19 research can go further is if black people are included. Because they know automatically you're going to go in an uproar talking about, man, that's some bullshit. That's why they can put up the information about the first test in Africa went on with COVID-19. And you'll say, that's some bullshit. They're hurting our people. Nigga, what the fuck are they hurting? If it's an illusion, if this shit ain't real, if it's an illusion and this shit ain't fucking real, you got to make a fucking choice. What side, not what side of the coin you're on, but are you going to be the one that's going to flip that coin? To understand that either way, I can feed off that coin. It's just another aspect that let me know that I do not need to be here. It's another aspect in letting me know I don't need to be here. There's something better for me. I have created it. I am going to create it. In order for me to instill it, I must put in this fucking work. Anything else outside of that is the reason that you keep getting stuck the fuck here. You ain't got to work. I don't have to worry or stress or think about helping anybody or clients, acquiring people that want classes, want consultations, want readings, want none of that aspect, because my spirit, me being humble to myself and forgiving myself for what I've already done and going through that process of shadow work, it leaves me exposed by sharing that aspect of what I've been through. In my information, the spirit naturally humbles the spirit of me stepping forward, and it humbles to them to step forward. How do you expect anybody to believe? This is where that shit gets fucking real trippy at. How the fuck do you expect anybody to buy into the aspect of spirituality, becoming spiritual, encompassing yourself, becoming humble in yourself, growing within yourself, flourishing within yourself, that love within yourself, if every time something comes up on the fucking TV, you agree to it just like they do? It's the aspect of that Jesus shit. And I always use the Jesus shit because that's where most black people came from, in the aspect of being black based upon their identity. So I always use that. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. I'm gonna put my cat on my globe, see if he sits. Oh no, you won't sit up there. It's okay. But taking that thought process into your mind, how can you truly say that, live by that, stand by that, but every time something comes up within the humanity aspect, you react to it just as the human does? You have to show that distaste to humanity. And the ones that are humble to the heart will actually get the context of the light that it needs to. The ones that it needs to go to are the ones that it's going to go to. This is about you aligning yourself. Because when you're in alignment, your home is in order, yourself is in order, everything else falls in order as it's supposed to. And that's based on serving or not serving. Not right or wrong, not good or bad, not up or down, not red, yellow, purple, blue, green, Roy G. Biv. Not based upon that. It'll be based upon your knowing and what you know and staying by what you know. in me standing by what I know and always open to the aspect of learning more. Even the things that I am well versed in, I'm open to the aspect of learning more. So I'm never shut down from acquiring more fucking knowledge, because that's one of my many purposes at this level, is to acquire knowledge, to apply, to interpret, and to teach. That's that aspect. That's that cycle within inside myself. So everything that I'm coming to is an aspect for me to learn from, is an aspect for me to apply, is an aspect for me to teach, to counsel. That's my purpose. That's my passion. That's how that all lies into that same space. When you're not in your true space of your true you, every time that you come to a point of realization, it will always be the same fucking argument. You ever had an aspect with yourself when you having an argument with somebody? We keep having the same fucking argument. You never fucking change. You never do this. Bitch, we keep talking about the same shit. You still ain't learn how to cook fucking eggs. You still ain't fucking learn how to do this. That's why we keep going around in the same fucking circle. Everything else, but you ain't learning how to do this one aspect. That's based upon the thought process. That ain't what the fuck they there for. We got to stop putting ourselves in this mindset of shit being what the fuck we want it to be and what we need it to be, and look at it as by what I desire in myself is what this is going to challenge me to do. That's sinking your mind. When you're in the aspect of, when I approach every situation as I'm open to learning, I'm open to the learning of what I'm about to be challenged to do, because it's going to push me to what I truly desire, I have no fucking reason to be fucking depressed. I have no reason to be fucking sad. I have no reason to be, oh my God. Because it challenges everything down to the fucking nanobite. That nanorhythm inside of me. So I'll sit there and be like, oh shit, I'm doing exactly what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Are you doing what you're supposed to do? You're wanting something based on this lower level that I'm no longer within. I still can do that, but it's at a higher level. That shit didn't void it out. That level of attention at that level is voided out. I'm past that. This is the aspect of every time you lower yourself down to somebody else's frequency to think you're going to get something that you want, and you keep getting fucked up and fucked over. Make them come to your frequency. That's the humility about forgiving yourself for what the fuck you did, and make them come to your level. Because they're only going to bring you down to the level to where they can see you. So someone can look at me dead in my fucking face. I put it on my Scorpio rising, my Leo moon, my Aquarius sun, my North Node Gemini, my South Node in Sagittarius. Someone will only want to look at me based upon those spectrums of light, not knowing that I've transcended past that space. So if somebody's still stuck within the space of zodiac and being one zodiac, that means they're only going to see reflections through one zodiac. So someone can see me as everything about being an Aquarius, and it matches up and it lights up with their identity based on what they've already known about an Aquarius. But since they stuck within that facet right there of just being the Aquarius part, they don't see the aspect of Gemini. They don't see the aspects of my Leo. They don't see my rising in my Scorpio. They don't see my North Node being Gemini. They don't see my South Node being Sagittarius. So they can't uncomprehend the other aspects of light within this body. They only can see it through one light. Their perception is not your fucking job to fucking define. Their perception of you is not your job to define. You define by your standard, by what this side. You define yourself by what you are, what you stand by, the knowledge that you can convey in your truth, and move forward. If they cannot communicate at that level, the fuck you around them for? If they can't comprehend based on that level, why are you around them for? For the identity factor? I needed a friend. Nobody was there for me when I was little. Nobody was there for me when I was down and out in the streets. No one was. If I was stuck within that mindset of nobody was there for me or nobody was around me except for a choice few fucking individuals, when I was down and out, when I was going through the shit that I was going through, if my mindset was still stuck in that space, those same individuals that are now on this frequency would suffer because I'll only be able to see them through that frequency. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to me. That's the balance and compassion of being a fucking God. You got to step the fuck forward so motherfuckers have something to step fucking to. That's your strength. You have to step the fuck forward in order for motherfuckers to have something to step to. To be that example. To be that Christos. To be that energy. To be that fucking light to them. That way when they come and they're saying, what did you do to do this? Man, I had to go through my shadow self. But if you ain't going through the process, I can almost guarantee your dealer ain't got what I got. But if you can't go through that process within your own mind, then what are you doing next? If you cannot connect that bridge point for yourself, if you have not built that bridge for yourself, if you have not went through your own fucking story, this is why every time you listen to every fucking come up story, whenever you go to them fucking, if you've ever heard the webinars, went to those meetings, and the motivational speakers, even myself as a motivational speaker, every time they give you, and I'm only going from the esoteric, I'm going for the exoteric because I'm esoteric, and I'm gonna do the explaining for both of those aspects. When you listen to that fucking motivational speaker, based on the external rhythm of making you feel good about your fucking self, you'll never become rich dad, poor dad. The thing between that keeps you from being the rich dad instead of the poor dad aspect of mentality is based upon that one missing element. That one missing element within that string, that one string, that one synonymous string that's tied into the Mandela effect, that one string, that one strand that's tied within the Mandela effect, within the supremacy thought process, within that helps the supremacy program stay, that helps the racism program stay, that helps all of these programs stay in fucking effect. That one strand, that one string, that one strand that keeps that in effect, that one piece, it's only a fraction. That's what's inside your fucking ass. They have one strand. Take the thought process in your mind when you think about If you give a nigga an inch, they'll take a fucking mile. And they'll run with it. And then look at everything that's going on around you in your fucking life. Based off that one singular thought, that one singular trauma, that one singular action, that one singular thing that happened. They've ran with it. That one strand based upon your identity that matriculated and became your identity. That's what the fuck they run with. The only person that's not running with it is you. The only one that's not running with it is you. Because you're stuck within the balances that they're not willing to. You're stuck within these moralistic patterns, these traditional patterns. Weave within the hexes and the curses and all of the spells and all of the shit that's been put on you. It's just you have not removed the spookism of what the fuck it was. Since you haven't removed those tethers, those strings from that doll, that voodoo, that's been voodoo simply means spirit. Since you've been locked into your spirit of your identity, since you've been locked into the spirit of your identity, based on you being a slave, based on you being great, based on you being this and you being that, that storm that erupts from the inside of this, that power that is you on the inside of this is bounded by everything that you fucking thought, is bounded by everything that you thought, everything that you have allowed to matriculate and become part of your fucking life is now locked you into this fucking space. And now that's what feeds from it. That's what feeds from it. Your soul gets impatient. Your soul feels the impatience. Your soul feels the depression. Your higher self tells you you're depressed, bipolar, and only speaks to you in levels of language. It only speaks to you in a translating archetype and transmutes based through the pains that you're already fucking going through. So your friends are not your friends. Your family is not your fucking family. Your friends are not your friends. Your family is not your fucking family. Your job is only your persecution. Your family is only bonded by the blood, or that blood that you have not, that blood that's in your heart, the burdens that are on your heart. Your friends are only bounded based upon the algorithms of thought process of something that you want to be vicariously live through or something that you never would go through. You've created this entire space around you. And until you get that under fucking control, in the aspect of understanding it, how the fuck can you take on the fucking world? How the fuck can you take on the world? If you cannot get into the understanding of every aspect that's going on around you in your fucking life and understand the purposing of it being there, how the fuck you think you're gonna take on the fucking world? How can you even begin to say, I'm gonna save my people? How can you begin to say you're going to do anything of that fucking nature if you have not worked on the source? How can you go forward if you stuck within the traumas and the triggers and the things that you have not yet to understand based upon your identity? That's why you'll get stuck. And then this is, you take that general aspect, That's what you'll be grounded and bounded in. That's how you get stuck. That's your earth side. That's your earth sign. That's the earth aspect of you. You'll sit here and move all the way around the fucking board, flowing free, living your best fucking life in your air sign archetype. But where the fuck are you at? What season are you in? What move are you actually fucking making? What progress have you made in your fucking life? What step have you taken? What truth have you came into while you flying around living your best life, running away from the responsibility that you are already grounded in? And that leaves you within that water archetype. Everything overflowing. You have an abundance of wealth in this one small area within this season. So now you're stuck within this season. It's similar to a motherfucker being stuck in the 80s or being stuck in the 90s. The equivalent to a nigga, old head being in the fucking mall, stuck in the fucking 80s, stuck in the fucking 90s, they best era, that their therapist will tell them that was your best era. They weren't saying that in aspect that they stuck there. It's the same aspect of you being stuck with either in the light or within the dark. Until you step through that boundary. Until you step through that boundary, that barrier that you have created, that is your fear, that fear architect, fear barrier, until you step past that shit, you ain't doing nothing else. You ain't gonna get no more of the shit that you fucking desire. That's the stalemate the motherfuckers are at right now. They stuck within that space. They're stuck listening to the time loop in the recording of a motherfucker coming on the fucking TV. I don't care what book you read. You can go read some motivational speech for dummies, how to be the best, how to be a millionaire, how to be an entrepreneur. Magician is also a great book. Magician, The Alchemist. These books, you can read whatever one of these books, but every book leaves you at the end based on inspiration, based on the intellectual content. Now you feel inspired. Now you feel inspired. What are you going to do with that inspiration? What is inspiration? Inspiration is perfected. Inspiration is perfection. It's reached to a level of perfection in order for the light to be refracted through it. I said that to say this about death. I don't give a fuck if it was a crisis actor, because I'm going to say something about fucking crisis actors. I don't give a fuck if it was a crisis actor. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if it was a crisis actor. I don't care if it was a ritual. I don't give a fuck what the fuck it was. In that aspect, I don't care. I don't care about I don't care, because I'm not choosing a side, whether it was a ritual, crisis actors, or whatever the fuck it was. Because in reality, when you look on fucking TV and you watch Alonzo die in Training Day, nigga, that was a fucking crisis actor. He acted out a role displayed upon you to make you feel a certain way. You watch Training Day, in the beginning you were like, that motherfucker's in charge, and then you go through the movie, some motherfuckers didn't like Alonzo. Nigga, I loved Alonzo through the whole fucking movie. But in my understanding of his role within the movie was outside of being inside that authority, traveling within that space of darkness. I understand why he had to fucking die. Because he perfected, or he was the inspiration. So what the fuck? What inspiration are you carrying on? It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. You remember, your subconscious records it as real regardless. It's your ego that tells you it was real or it was fake or it was this or it was that. That's your ego telling you that shit. Bringing it to the surface when you're listening to the information and you're getting that aspect, they're telling you what the fuck it is. That's giving you the identification. That's your fucking ego chiming in on it. When you feeling some type of way about Barack Obama ordering $65,000 worth of fucking pizza and hot dogs, and it was based on a pedophilia ring type bullshit, and now you feeling some type of way because you never wanted to think that way about that black man, because you never want no one to think about that way about you being a black man or a black woman, that aspect and thought process and reality to yourself, that's what the fuck you battling. That's the battle with yourself. That's the conversation that you haven't had with your fucking self. That's why when it comes out, it hurts the most. Because it seems like it's a generalized topic, but it's attacking your fucking ego. How the fuck you gonna move forward? How the fuck are you gonna move forward? How are you gonna embrace being at this level? Being in this space? Being in that fucking chaos? If you're stuck in the humanity aspect. That's the storm. If everything that you're doing is going through that vantage point, because you looking above and you looking down at that shit, now you feeling heartbroken about that shit. It's like when you look into the fucking Bible and it tells you that this shit was created by a demiurge or a lesser thought that you parented by a lesser thought. When you go into the Bible and you look at the aspect when he said he was motherfucking the God of this fucking realm, the creator of this space was fucking regretted making your ass. That's an aspect, that's an allegory about you feeling bad about the shit that you fucking created. Think about how many times you sit there and feel bad about a decision that you made. And the only way that you can come clear of a decision that you made or something that you did in your fucking life is coming to the understanding that I didn't have all the information. I don't know everything. I'm humble to say to myself, I don't know everything. I don't know shit. That's why in the first part of any fucking process, when I'm putting people through, you don't know shit. I don't know shit. You don't know shit. You in your human mindset does not know shit. But in my God sense, I know all, because all is of my mind. So when you come into that king archetype or the queen archetype, when you start separating your energy and allowing it to matriculate as you're bringing life to your avatar, that's why as the God, I create. As the king, I survey. And as the man, I move amongst to learn and put out those works. But above the God is the alchemist. I create based on the thought and bring it down. And I bring it down. Everything's in play based upon the mindset that I'm in. Everything that's down at this level, all of the, once you get this shit, once you get the context of this, humanity is fucking easy as hell. The human shit easy once you get this shit. Humanity is a fucking breeze for me. Humanity is a fucking breeze. I don't have to even say shit half of the fucking time. Motherfuckers come to their own conclusion. Bet, sure. Word, yeah, that's one interpretation. Yeah. Motherfuckers come to their own interpretation. They come to their own reasoning. They come to their own logic. based on their mindset where they're at. And I move forward because I'm not bounded to one set. I'm not bounded to that thought process. So someone can look at me and ask me, what the fuck do I think about COVID-19? And I will sit there and tell them to their face, I don't. Their emotions are going to erupt because I'm imbalanced when I say it. So they're going to look at me and be like, how the fuck can you not say anything about COVID-19? You probably don't give a shit about Black Lives Matter. I don't. How can you call yourself a black man in America and not care about the injustices that are happening on your own people? I never claimed to be the black man in America. I was talking about the injustices of my people. Truth does not need to be argued. Facts need to be argued. Points, opinions need to be argued. They need that realm of debate and conflict. I deal in truth. I move in truth. I deal in truth. I deal in the balance of dark and light, bringing the dark to the light, bringing the truth to the light. That's what I deal in. And me dealing in that aspect in myself, everything that I reflect is of that same nature. So everything that I manifest is within that nature. And this is where I was getting into, if they're not on your frequency, they're not on your vibration, they're not going to understand the shit that you do. They're not going to understand the shit that you do. And it's not for you to explain it to them unless they're humble to learn. And that's what the spirit will do to you. Crazy ass shit. If anybody looked at my Instagram or on my Facebook, with them when you follow, you don't follow both, or on my Twitter, I was flinging through because I just got my first Oracle deck. I was mad geek when I got my first Oracle deck. I remember up to this point of getting my Oracle deck, I remember I was listening to other people that were in that aspect of that spiritual aspect. And I was talking about, yo, once you get one deck, you can't stop, da da da. I remember I got my tattoo deck first. Recently got my Revelations deck, and then I got my first Oracle deck. And I was thumbing through my Oracle deck today before I even had everything set up in the space for the lecture. And I was going through my Oracle deck, and I was shuffling my cards, and I was playing with the cards and everything like that. And I was asking myself questions to myself. I was like, they ready for this? Should I say this tonight in my lecture? Should I go like this in my lecture? And then my right hand is my receiving hand. My left hand is my strong, dominant hand. I'm ambidextrous, so I can pull from either side, from the light and the dark. So my interpretations flow as to that manner. But I was sitting there and I pulled 5 cards. I pulled 5 cards, being in the meaning that it came up was the meaning, one of the aspects behind the lecture. And I asked myself the question. I asked the question. And as soon as I pulled and set the cards up, and I'm looking at the cards, getting that information, taking that download, taking that intuition into and reading them, the lights go out at my crib. The power go out. And it was like one of those, like a bomb drop type feeling, like the energy was like, boom, and it shook everything, shut everything off for a second, brought everything back online. And I was like, oh, I guess you do want me to drop that bomb on them. So I was sitting there like, oh shit, that shit really fucking dropped like that. And I said that to say this. As I pull the motion card. As I pull the connection card. The consistency card. The absence card. Was that 5? That's 4. We got one more card to pull. I always do 4. To your renewal. So now I look at these cards in front of me and I have that aspect of intuition based upon being free of the traumas and constantly doing that shadow work. I can look at the words and the things that you're moving into emotion, the things that you're setting in motion into your mind. Are going to feed that connection to your spirit. And bring forth the consistency in you connecting with your spirit, furthering your emotions. Within that absence of humanity, in your ego and your identity, the things that you are now, the things that you are going to become absent from, the thoughts that you have parented, listen to this, the thoughts that you have parented, the ideals that you have parented, everything that you parented on this fucking level, it's now time for your absence. It's going to require your absence from being that absent. It's going to require the absence of being an absentee father. So those of that have been through that aspect of having an absentee father, absentee mother, and something being absent within their life, it's going to lead to your renewal. But the only way that you're going to understand that renewal for yourself and be able to embrace that renewal of your true self is allowing that absence to occur. The only way anybody's going to learn any fucking thing is with your fucking absence. That's something that we've all done at a point in time in our fucking life. As I close my Crown Royal bag. That's something that we've all done within our lives. And we say this shit, but we really don't even we don't use it to the highest extent. That's one thing that we do not do. We do not use things to their highest extent. We only use it based upon listening to reply. So we only say things that are to reply. So based on an unhealed aspect of your mind, that's why you'll take a shot at somebody to shut them the fuck down, because it gives you an immediate feeling of pleasure. This is based on an unhealed archetype. So when you get into that argument, you get into that back and forth, this is why this is why that person or that friend, I can't believe you even said that, you brought that out loud. I told you that in confidence. All right. And they used it. They told you that in confidence. You told them that shit in confidence. So they used it to attack your confidence. You tell them this shit in fucking confidence. And they use the same shit you tell them in fucking confidence against you. They use the aspect of blackface, that theory, the Mandela effect of blackface, the distraction of blackface against you because you are confident in being black. But they have the intellectual property knowing that you are more. Knowing that deep down, when they keep saying it's an extraterrestrial or an alien did this, they know that's you. But you so confident, and remember, if the confidence is arrogance, you so confident and arrogant in being black. You're so arrogant in being black. In the aspects of what we believe, in the aspects of being what black is on this lower level, and remaining in the algorithm of being black at this level. The archetype of the reality of this space. How the fuck you think they keep attacking you? They ain't got to do shit. You do it to your fucking self. That one friend that always need fucking money, know they can come talk to you. That one friend that always need money, need to ride, need whatever the fuck they need, know they can come to your ass. Why? Because your aspect of thought is based upon sharing and being confident in your independence. So why the fuck they need to become independent why do they need to become independent when you're so happy in being independent? Why do they need to change or do anything when you're so proud in being what the fuck you are? Wearing the fucking badge. Wearing it like a fucking badge, like a fucking shash, like you was the motherfucking Miss Universe, Mr. America. Why the fuck they got to change if you ain't? That's the reflection and reality into that space. Why they got to change if you ever change? You still the same person clinging to the aspects of being within America and trying to figure out your legacy, and we did all these aspects and things. Why the fuck they got to change if you ain't changed? If you only gonna bring the same exact fucking thought process to the fucking table, what the fuck do they need to change? If you have to keep bringing the same aspects to the fucking table, every time you come to that fucking table, to the fucking argument, you got the same fucking shit. We built this fucking country. I did this, and I did that, and I did this. You gave them their defense on what the fuck they needed to say, what they needed to do and act upon. And then they give you the aspect, and all they say to you is, I'm sorry. They only can give you two answers. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry, forgive me. Whatever I need to do to make it right, I'll make it right. Let's move forward in that notion. That's what you want and need to fucking hear. What you don't want to fucking hear behind that fucking argument is they can't comprehend to say that shit to you. That's why you have, this is the archetype whenever I'm thinking about, you have that one blunt friend that says shit that they shouldn't say at certain fucking times, or you have that one motherfucker that you shouldn't put on speakerphone because they're speaking from a level based on the highest extent of what you believe is based upon emotion, but it's coming based upon the feeling of knowing what has been perfected within that space, and that's what they stand on. That key element of energy within the space telling you what the fuck you need to hear. Are you willing to listen to it? It's your time to fucking transcend. It's always been your time to fucking transcend. Everything is going to line up with every story that you fucking read. You're going to interface with two different ways. And you can understand this based on conversations with certain individuals. When I interface with the spirit, I have an understanding that the spirits that I'm dealing with are niggas. By vehement parented that thought process. They are fucking niggas. Because I'm about to go to fucking. That's why I drink the water. Giving y'all the little quirks. They're fucking niggas. They are you. They are outside of the aspect of time. They're outside of the aspect of time. They're outside of the aspect of morality. They're outside of the aspect of anything that is on humanity, on the human level. That's why when you looked at them when they did certain shit at this level, whether it was good or bad didn't fucking matter. It served them within that space. So when you look at the rap sheet of James Brown, you look at the rap shit of Rick James and all of this shit, Jimi Hendrix, Prince, Michael Jackson, whatever the fuck they tell you about these aspects of entities of energy is to deface you from tapping into that energy. Something as simple as tapping into the ether of Prince, and you looking in your mind, say, I would never fuck with blouses. I would never fuck with a blouse. But on the other end, that nigga in the movie, he went up behind Shorty. He was standing there in complete silence and stuck his finger up there, stroked her fucking clit, and then went the fuck away and disappeared. Said a couple words while he was playing with her clit and disappeared. Left her in a longing and wanting more. That's God level shit. That's the inspiration. That's the aspect of inspiration. That aspect that you get stuck based on glamour, based on humanity, of looking up to something. You're simply looking up to yourself. But in order to understand that, you must cultivate through the purposes of where you're at to get to that level. Fuck the outcome, because the outcome may change. The outcome may change. The outcome's going to change within the facets of the purpose that you cultivate. So I do nothing in the aspect, but in order for me to separate from humanity, this is the aspect of separate from humanity. I can't look at Kobe Bryant, Nipsey, George Floyd, whoever, as what the fuck they were at this level. Negative, positive, good, bad, whatever the fuck it may be. I cannot look at them based on that level. That perception. I have to look at what drove them to do what they did. What was their drive? And this is when your occult mind or that scientific mind, we're supposed to be that scientific, that aspect of that overthinking starts to work for you. So you can tap into it. Before I even started the lecture today, I went through 3 different playlists. I remember I was listening at first I was listening to some Ganesh binaurals, and I was just sitting there, I was really feeling that shit and really vibing with it. And then it gave me the aspect of forgiveness and compassion. And then I went into the aspect of I turned on Kambada Nigga Christ off his LSD album. I listened to that shit, and I'm listening to that playlist, and that got me to the aspect of creating. And then the last thing I listened to 15 minutes before starting this lecture, I was listening to fucking Voodoo Rights. Papa Papa. The energy that I embrace. In order for you to step forward, the energy that you embrace, that interface with the spirit. When I talk to the fucking spirits, I'm already went through the process of the humility, the humble initiation. I've already went through that process. So when I interact with the spirit, it's like I'm on the level with them. So there is no, they're gonna be mad at you, they're gonna be upset with you. That shit don't exist for me. Nigga, I'm one of them. I walk amongst them. I live amongst them. I indulge amongst them. So that aspect of your reality, you come into your high self, this reflection is, are you living in your shit? Your reflection of your relationship that keep coming into your life, are you living in your fucking self at all costs? Because there was something that came up earlier. I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and they were like, and they made a good fucking point. When the politics and the aspects within humanity hit, what are you doing then? The discipline don't mean shit. The meditation don't mean shit. The mantras don't mean shit. What are you doing within that space? The discipline of your true self, living in your true love, working on your true self, putting in your fucking work. The discipline that you create within that space is what steps forward within every position, is challenged by every position that comes up. So Venus went direct. The relationship with yourself, are you living in the truth of yourself? Are you giving yourself exactly what you need? And what are you taking from what you're giving to yourself? Are you living in your truth? Are you living based upon, are you still trying to live out the routines of what you think it is based on the lower level of mundane neutrality, the neutral thought process of what you think it is to be human? You ain't fucking human. So what are you doing? That's the relationship test. Your relationship is always, whenever you're going into a space to be equally yoked, you gotta already be of the counterpart of what the fuck you're trying to get to. So with that thought process, are you equally yoked? Are you happy? Are you abundant? Are you tapped into your abundance? Are you tapped into your wealth? Are you tapped into your prosperity? Because sometimes some of the relationships that you get into are notes and markers and inspirations of what you need to get into or what it takes to go to the next level. Using a relationship for anything more than a learning aspect, going into it with a set of assumptions or a set of thought processes outside of the paradigm of learning, you mean for personal gain? Why do you fucking think the relationship doesn't happen the way you want it to fucking happen? Why do you think that after marriage, 85% of marriages, I hated statistics when I was in fucking college. I hated fucking statistics. I hated it because I became statistics. So 85% of marriages after they get married, niggas stop having sex. Why do you think that is? Why do you think after a certain amount of time within a relationship, certain shit dies? Why do you think in a relationship during a certain point in time, certain shit dies? And no matter what you try to do to spice that shit the fuck up, no matter what you try to do to spice that shit up and make the relationship actually fucking work and do some more spicy shit, wear some different clothes, put on something different, think about something different, why do you think the fucking shit still fucking does? Because they're using it for the wrong purpose. Every relationship that you build is a stepping stone. Every bond that you build is a stepping stone. That's why Shorty can sit there, and it's funny whenever I see the meme. That's why Shorty can sit there as I adjust my smoking apparatus. Everybody can sit there within that aspect, and nigga, I just needed you to get me to that next level in my ritual. That's why I had sex with you. It's confidence in her genius. If you only go into something expecting something in return based on not having to change the algorithm within yourself, that's why that particle breaks apart and it never comes into full fruition. You will never come into full fruition with your battle with the white man because you're operating within equal parts based upon intellectual property. 1 second. I don't know. Within the aspects of what you're looking at based on this normal level, based upon humanity, my whole aspect in thought process is when I give out the information is to challenge how you look at shit on the normal basis. So if you're using normal shit on the normal level to try to get something more. The disconnect between what you're trying to receive as opposed to what you're getting is because your intention is not within the rhythm of that space. Because you're using this shit wrong. This is why motherfuckers go back and forth and you just weren't doing this, or you just weren't doing that. There's an aspect, and this is one thing that I've actually grown into. I've been growing into over the last couple of fucking months, years, and coming into this level. Everything that you have naturally already appropriated and worked on into yourself, you ain't got to speak on. Everything that goes to a certain level based upon your truth, you ain't got to speak on. You ain't got to give it no definition and no meaning. In order for it to be met, they must come to that level. If they cannot come to that level, you treat them as such. If they cannot come to the level that you are at, confidently standing on, treat them as such. This programming into your mind for your mentality will change, and I can guarantee it will change how you view everything. It will change everything. It's going to change the face of everything. Because you have to see it as what the fuck it is. A learning instrument. That's what the fuck it is. You going back and forth. That's like looking at the promiscuous woman. She's unhealed. That's why she's promiscuous based on that level. So she's going to use anything to stay within that reality of space because that gives her power. Individuals are going to stay within a space based upon humanity, based upon ego and identity that gives them power. That's why you can have a conversation with somebody about getting hit over the head by every nigga they get with. Every nigga they get with, they get hit over the fucking head. They have to acknowledge they get power from that in order for them to even go forward on saying, I want to look at my own power. That's the aspect that we're getting into and understanding. I remember like when I did my locks, I mean, I can remember I could just do this and it stayed. Now my shits have grown so much. But they're coming into this aspect of the reality of what they're accepting based on their life will only keep playing out. If you keep going back to that space, all you're going to keep saying is that same fuck. What you're going to see based on the time loop is it keeps playing out the same way. What are you learning from that time loop that they're stuck in or sustained in? I'm not saying don't go deal with humanity. This is the aspect that we get stuck in, especially coming into consciousness. We become pious about other motherfuckers because we feel like we're better because we've healed. True healing is the aspect of compassion. I've forgiven myself for the shit that I've been through and I've done and went through to myself, and I've come to an understanding. So I have a compassion for motherfuckers that are going through their shit. That compassion is my catalyst to, if they have a question, I can teach. If they have a question or they seem like they have a question, I can see a point or I can see the vantage point to teach from. Or I can see the vantage point to, that's a remnant of what I used to do. That's a remnant of how I used to think. That's a remnant of how I used to think. Or is it a reflection for a vantage point for me to teach from? That's how you start learning how to use your fucking energy. And that goes into the aspect of dealing with the fucking spirits. When I have a conversation with the spirits, when I have an interfacing with the spirits The same way I'm talking to you guys just like this, the same way I talk to the fucking spirits. I now understand what Bobby Hemmett was saying. I now fully understand that shit. I'll probably go back to and understand some more shit. That's that prophetic energy. I now understand that aspect of when you asking the motherfuckers to do shit. You're outside of the aspect of time when you at this level. You're outside of the aspect of time. That's why down in this physical level, when shit ain't going the way the fuck you wanted to go, that's why you get impatient. What it's showing you is it's not going down here because you ain't doing what you need to do up there. Reflect on your ass. When shit ain't going the way the fuck you want it, it's telling your ass, maybe I'm not doing what the fuck I need to be doing for me to be in alignment with what the fuck I want. Maybe I'm not being honest with myself. Their dishonesty is showing you how honest you are with yourself. Their mundane urges show you the fuck what you ain't willing to deal with yourself. People ask me every fucking day, and they ask me a lot. So you do? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'll tell you a story. I remember back in 2000 and we'll say 2005. It was around 2005. No, 2000. It was 2006. I just college, prison, da 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 da. Okay, I was in Tennessee at the time. I remember the first conversation I had with some people, and they were talking about like, "Yo, man, it's been a couple weeks, man. I need to get me some." Yo, man, it's been like 2-3 months, man. It's been dry. They were looking at me based on how I spoke and how I moved. That perception. They're like, "Yo, man, I know it's been a while for you. How long it been for you?" I remember when I told them, it's been like 4 or 5 years. Damn, you must be backed up. I cannot comprehend what the fuck they meant about being backed up. Oh shit, I'm putting myself on. I, at that point in time, had not found or been shown somebody, a queen at that aspect, or a woman at that aspect that served the purposes of extending me past to a certain level. I was in a space where I was acquiring a lot of knowledge. And this is the aspect before becoming conscious. I can now expound upon this because I've been through it. I was acquiring a lot of knowledge. I was filling myself out. I just came out of aspects of myself in where I was at. And now I'm in this space. So I didn't see nobody that really served the purpose. Exactly as I said it. They were like, "Yo, man, it's been like 8 years. I know you backed up." This gave me the aspect of understanding urges. So where they were acting upon urges, I learned how to control my urge. So within a space where mad shorties was flocking around, I was in a restaurant. In restaurants, there's always mad chicks around. They're always hungry. One thing about working in a restaurant, chicks is always fucking hungry. The service is always hungry. What you feed them either nourishes their appetite or nourishes their soul. What you feed somebody either nourishes their appetite, they either They're either used to their appetite being nourished or their soul being nourished. They never had their soul nourished. So if somebody doesn't understand how their soul is being nourished or being charged from a certain energy, from a higher archetype of energy, and they're used to their appetite being fed, they only know how to show you based upon their appetite. The appetite being the physical apparatus. So this is why in the conjunction, whenever you have that conversation with somebody and it sounds so astounding and it sounds so fucking great, it's because you're stimulating their soul. But since they're not in tune with their energy, they're not in tune with such depth, they only can view it as appealing to the appetizing of their physical. So now they're only going to react based in the physical. They only can react now within the physical. So that's why you're in motherfuckers getting relationships, and shorty's natural response pattern can be, I'm gonna give that nigga some. He hit on all points that I'm not used to. I'm gonna give that nigga some. And if that nigga is serving based upon his urges, he feeds. Now that he's within that space, or she's within that space, as long as everything's within that space, stays in that conjunction, the feeding can commence. But when the agreement changes, or when there's an elevation or a shift, the agreement has to change. The bullet points within that agreement have to change, because this is rose to another level. So being at this level requires you to level the fuck up, or you're going to be serving it. Either you're coming to this level, or it's going to challenge your human independence. It's going to challenge your human, I've done all this all my life, I had to fight. It's going to challenge that thought process for you to get to this level. That's the interfacing with the principles of becoming a fucking God. Conversing with the spirits. Are you going to them in humble service? Or are you going to them as them? Are you going into this energy as a servant? I need to have $1 million. Or are you going into that aspect of I am $1 million? As you challenge yourself on that lower aspect to learning to go into the next level, the ways that you used to go get things no longer fucking work. You become frustrated with the humane aspects of humanity because they no longer work. You wonder, so now you're stuck looking back and forth. This is your identity, this is how your identity plays it. This motherfucker over here talking about they won this playing lottery and they got this system in place. Man, I had so many systems and I followed this system, I followed that system. What it's showing you is not the fucking system. It's showing you the discipline within them creating that system. That's what you need to learn from. You're not learning based on the system that they've appropriated or created. You are learning to take or prepare based on the discipline of them setting that system in motion. What's happening at this level now is the shit's done. The shit's been over. It started as a manifestation of saying it over and over and over again. And now it's coming into fruition that in the physical form. This shit's over. This shit's no longer existing. It's flickering. You are the matrix. You are understanding you are the creator. Just by you accepting the fact that you are the fucking creator changes shit. Just by you accepting that you're the creator changes shit. So imagine what happens when you step through all the way. I'm going to use the generalized aspect of your everyday life and look at what happens in your fucking life. Me being a creator at that aspect. Me graduating to Titan. Humble to that graduation. Me being that Titan, as you can tell by the fiery red fucking hair now. Matriculated in the physical form. I got the fiery red head. I just went to a whole nother level in my speech pattern. Everything's been leveled up. Everything around me that I used to be in conflict within and going out over here, doing this over here, doing this over here. Now I'm totally comfortable in saying, nah, I don't want to do it. It doesn't move me. It doesn't inspire me. It doesn't motivate me. Because I'm not in the human apparatus to be motivated. I'm not in the human apparatus to be inspired. I'm in that higher level of energy. So when something inspires me now, this is where it gets, motherfuckers get that shit fucked up. And this is where the prudish shit comes based upon your thought process of thinking that you're in such a certain space that you ain't got to experience, the experiences change. This is another aspect of learning in your separation. It does not mean, so in the physical form, the manifestation or thought process, if somebody comes into something in a human level or they go through something in a human level, this is what tests your compassion. I'm not saying that I don't give a fuck about it. I can understand that and I can explain and display what I need to display based upon that. So I can have that conversation like, oh, well, maybe they're doing that because of this, this, and this. Damn, I never thought about it that way. It's not that they never thought about it, they never thought. They never truly thought. What you're doing now in just becoming the creator, you are in becoming the creator, becoming that guy, that goddess, you're forcing them to rethink. You're forcing them to actually open up the thought. You're forcing them to actually open up the thought. They have to now think. And what you're seeing now is people do not like to have their thoughts challenged, their humanity, their fundamentals, their life challenged, their existence challenged. That's all you ever see based on someone being destructive. So if somebody's within the destructive archetype program in their mind, think about that. If someone's in a destructive archetype of mind and they acquire the knowledge, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think the knowledge of, when they apply the knowledge, what do you think they're going to apply the knowledge to? The same fucking shit. The same oppressive narrative. That's why it's so important that when you're coming into your higher self, that you have to remove yourself from the bounds or those chains based on being in a mindset of worthlessness. That's why you have to remove yourself from that chain. You have to remove yourself from that bounds. And as you start removing yourself from that chain and those bounds of that aspect, the more you start coming into this knowledge, you start coming into this information and going forward, everything that needs to be shown for you to further separate from will be shown to you. Because you're stepping out of the realm of limited possibilities and things becoming impossible. You're now in nothing's impossible. You're now in nothing is impossible. Nothing can't be done. I understand my magic. I understand my power. Magic is real. All these aspects. You're coming into that higher aspect of thought. So now what is challenged and will be shown you in challenges are the ones that are stuck within a pattern. You ever had someone tell you like, yo, man, I can't work today, man. They said they were overstaffed. Man, damn, every time you go to work, they say they're overstaffed. Maybe it's you. But then you don't say it because that's your homeboy, it's your homegirl. You won't say that to them because you don't want to, you want to save face and not hurt their feelings. Force them to think. If you're going to be down here, your aspect is to force them to think. That's all you should be doing is forcing them to think. And the way that you force them to think is free of emotion. So when you drop some shit down and you standing within your truth, all they can do is ask a fucking question. You leave no room for them to be able to, if you do it based upon emotion, then they can always attack you based on emotion. If you do it based upon survival, they always will get you based upon survival. That's that shut that shit down archetype. If somebody keeps bringing up things from your past and you've already learned, applied, the biggest key is you learn yourself again. Learn yourself, go back and learn yourself again. After you learn yourself again, go back and learn yourself again. That is the process of your humanity. That is the vehicle. That is the drive that is the drive or the catalyst for your humanity, to learn and learn again. Down at this level, you will give it subjective thought and intellectualism. You're now going into the aspect of intelligence. This is how you become the tool. This is why it doesn't matter what happens. I always am open to what it's about to show me and what I can go through forward next. There's no such thing as losses. There's only things for me to learn from. What processes I got to do next, what I got to do here. Maybe I got to apply this. When you start applying that algorithm and searching out for the scenarios of, when you start making your mind, your ego work for you, and it's only searching for solutions, then your subconscious only records the solution. It records the solution. It records the positive. Since your subconscious is now recording the positive, your consciousness or your ego is now working for you. So it's only searching for the solution. Your subconscious only records the solution. Everything that you do brings forth the solution. You're now in alignment with your positive. You're now in alignment with your positive, your prosperity. You're now in alignment with your wealth and your abundance. That's how you become in alignment. That's how you can use every single moment to your fucking gain. That's living spiritual. I can use everything, every moment to my gain. Everything can be used to serve me. The art, selfish, or to become. So myself is to become what? Based upon your identity, yourself is to become what? Based upon your true nature of yourself, myself is always to become a God, always to become something higher. So everything that I do within that aspect of being selfish, the new thought forms that I create will only figure to feed me becoming something more, me becoming to the next level. When your mindset's within this space, when you start moving within this space, this set of your creation becomes more. You start to be able to create. You can imagine, you can see. This is the aspects of tapping into your physical abilities, your clairvoyance, your clairambience, your other psychic abilities, your telepathy. One of the books that I'm actually putting together as a course, because I'm gonna start teaching the arts of psychic abilities. The courses are coming soon. The courses and classes are coming soon. One thing that I'm going to teach is in that is actually tapping into your psychic abilities. But the only way you can actually tap into this is the aspect motherfuckers do not really fucking understand. The only way that you tap into your higher shit is one of two ways. Either you find a servant or a middleman, which is the deity, or you become the deity. The deity is outside of the aspects of anything that happens to you based on a human level. The deity, the Orisha, is outside of the constraints of humanity. I would remember I looked at the Bobby Hemmett lecture and he was talking about the man cheating and the woman cheating. And I was like, I'm sitting here looking at it like, I understand. Why are you getting mad? It's like the same aspect. Like if I was going out with if I'm going out with my shorty, going out with my lady, going out and about or whatever in that aspect, and another man walks up to her and asks her to give her a drink or say that she wants something to eat. And her response is to come to me and say, this man just asked me for a drink. That I want to have a drink. My exact aspect, putting it into my favor, shit, since he buying, let me get one too. Go tell him that. It offsets the balance of what naturally, it offsets the balance because I'm outside of the spectrum of what naturally is supposed to happen based on humanity. See, in humanity, your ego wants you to get mad. It wants you to defend against something because now it gives an aspect for it to feed upon. So that thought process can be fed upon. So when you step out of that spectrum, you learn how to make it serve for you. So you learn how to speak in a way that's going to sound unorthodox to the one that's not in tune. So when you start thinking this way and moving this way, your thoughts become this way. Everything that you see, motherfuckers say that shit all the time when they're sitting there trying to. I had somebody ask me to decode. I forgot what movie it was. Dumbass. It was not a metaphysical movie. You cannot code it. That's another aspect. We don't get into. Not fucking get into that. What we're doing now is based upon the original programming of coding. But we're doing it unconsciously, so we're giving things definitions that really don't exist. And it's based upon the paradigm. So just like white supremacy, we understand. So if white people are invented by us and we have the information, that knowledge, you have that in your mind, how the fuck they have any power when you invented them? They only can get, it's like playing fucking house and you divvying out the roles to everybody in the house. They only have the power that you give them. They only have the power that you give them. You gave them the power. You gave them the power in the aspect of, oh, that's who you are. You gave them that power. You gave them that substructure of their power to themselves. That's what you gave them. So this goes up to the spirits or the ancestors. You gave the ancestors attributes to lock them into a certain space by defining them by that, instead of understanding that it's energy. The principles of every one of that principles of the archetype of that energy is what you use to tap into that energy. It's like when you think about the balance of the laws of Maya, I am not stolen, I haven't stolen, I haven't coveted my neighbor's goods, and all the 42 laws. In order to speak those freely, you first must understand that you are not the human body that had to. You have to understand that you are not the human body that had to subject themselves to that. You are not the human body that's subjected to doing those things. You're not the human body. You are that is the apparatus and the tool that you use to acquire knowledge through those things. So when you start thinking like this, all that shit changes. Why are you giving something power that doesn't have any fucking power? You give the power to your confusion. You give the power to your impatience. You give the power to your anger. You give the power to constructs outside of you to give you anger. You give the power to the thought process that now matriculates and connects to your fucking anger. Why are you angry? Why are you still in the past? Why are you holding on to this? I don't know why I'm holding on to this. I've always been this way based on this. Okay, cool. What led you to that aspect? Some motherfuckers going through Stockholm syndrome don't even fucking realize it. They became their captor at a point in time. In freezing and repressing your mind into a certain state, you either become or you defend. You either become in order to understand. You either become it in the mentality to see it from that perspective, to understand it, to gain clarity, or you defend it. And we're not talking about defending whether it was right or wrong. We're talking about in defense based on, does it serve you, does it not serve you? So the issues that you don't want to deal with, you're naturally defending. The issues, the traumas, the shit that you are not dealing with on a interfacing with yourself level, getting yourself right, you're defending. You are only perpetuating what everybody else within that space, within that generational loss, that generational curse, you're only perpetuating it. It's the same thought process. Mother, like, my family ate fat back for 90 years and she lived to be 103. But you're not looking at the purpose. You're not looking at what cultivated that purpose. She had to take all them pills. She had to do all of this. She had to do all of that. It's the same aspect looking at the motherfucker. It's like the same aspect looking at the nigga on TV and he got all the money. He got the bitches. Yeah, he got all the bitches. He got all the money. He got all the cars. He got the big ass houses. You're not looking at the thing that had to cultivate that into existence. That's where we're getting stuck at. We're not looking at the historical reasoning and the purposes and the intellectual property that put that shit into fucking play. Until you understand what put that lock in place, you cannot remove that lock. You cannot put that key into that lock and turn it. I don't care what skeleton key you have. The only way you can acquire the skeleton key is by acquiring all of the information about that lock for that key to ultimately unlock that. That's why some people, when they get into an aspect, they start dealing with, when they start coming into their spiritual shit, they're going based upon the fundamentals of what they learned from something before, based upon following and not studying. And then they think that's how that fucking shit works. And in one side of the spectrum, that's how that shit works for them. If it resonates with them, that goes with them. But if it doesn't resonate with you, that's where the argument comes from. Nah, that's not how that fucking shit works. You must understand that that shit has to work for them on that level for them in order for it to work for you on your level. That's what brings balance to that space. I said it the other day. I was like, if everybody was fucking conscious, where would we be? If everybody was aware, everybody was on one accord, where the fuck would we be? Where would you be? If everybody around you is moving at the same rate of speed, everybody's moving at that same rate within their own rate, within their own personal world, they're putting shit together in their world. And then you're doing what you need to do in your world to make your shit spin, to make your shit move. If that's the happening, what's happening and going on, if that's what's going on and happening inside your world, and everybody's moving into that same accordance, what do you think happens naturally? The frequency changes. The shit shifts. But if you're still stuck within the conflict of what you don't want to be and this matches what I'm doing, you're still stuck between these two pivots of I don't want to be this, but I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to just keep jumping around in this until something clicks. Nothing's going to fucking click. I'm going to be real with you. Nothing's going to click because your mindset's not in the space for anything to connect. Nothing's going to happen within that space because you're not in the mindset for something to fucking happen. Because your mind has already been tuned based on the old program of it's too good to be true. So if my mindset's stuck on it's too good to be true, anything that cannot be explained connects to that thought process. Anything that cannot be explained is connected to that thought process. That's a detrimental fucking program. That's a detrimental type of virus. Because think of everything that can be connected to that based upon right and wrong. If it cannot be explained, it must be wrong or it's bad. If I cannot come to an explanation to use it for my own gain. Think about what can be connected to that. Think about what aspects can be connected to that. Just think about that. That's why shit looks good based upon urges. That's why motherfuckers act on fucking urges and they can't explain the feeling based on the urge. I just had an urge to smoke that. I just had an urge to go sleep with your cousin and your best friend at the same time. I just had this urge. I don't know what came over me. I don't know what possessed me. The lowest aspects of their truest self. That energy needs to fucking feed. So if you go into a space with somebody that's not on your fucking level, and this is the dangerous part about motherfuckers not being on your fucking level, you go into an aspect of a motherfucker not being on your level. Every time that you go forward in dealing with them, if they're not on your level or they're not open or humble to coming to that level of energy, that space, they're only going to be able to matriculate. They're only going to be able to connect to you based on what the fuck they're on that level. They're only going to be able to connect to you based on their level of understanding, their level of their understanding of their urges, the work that they've done. They're only going to be able to connect to you based upon that. So if you're in that space for anything other than to learn, this is the biggest aspect of learning. Because when you go out of this learning, when you go into the aspect of being open to learn, the possession goes away. I have no desire to own anything at this level. Own any person, place, thing, or idea. I don't have any aspect to own anything down here. On the intellectual level, I have no aspects to want to own anything down here. Nothing has ownership in that aspect. You feel me? Because I'm open to the aspect of learning from everything that's here. So if my mindset's on that wavelength, and you got to start thinking this way. When my mindset's on that wavelength, there's nothing down here that can dishearten me or stop me from being the best that I can be. There's nothing stopping me. Because if I'm not attached to anything based on a mundane level, and I know that connection to me is based upon me already being abundant, wealthy, being what I am, that means where that catalyst no longer can sustain this energy and my energy grows and I transcend, go to that next level, I don't have to have the aspect of, damn. Now you understand that mourning, that aspect, the humanity aspect does kick in. But as you're going higher into yourself, you start understanding like, damn, that shit had to fucking happen. At the end of the fucking day, you can take a couple months off or whatever and like, I don't want to deal with people. But in that aspect, you come into the understanding realization that shit had to happen for me to go to the next level. That shit had to happen for them to go to the next level. This is how you actually become the ultimate. This is how you become the ultimate in compassion and forgiving. This is where you can look at the aspect of turning the other cheek based upon that peaceful aspect, because you're now able to see it from both sides of what it is. You're no longer stuck within the conflict. And this is the interpretation taking that turn the other cheek mentality. You can now turn the other cheek because you're not stuck within the conflict of being stuck in, if I turn the other cheek, they're going to hit me. You already understand that I don't have to think about turning my other cheek because I already know what to expect. Since I know what to expect, now I know presumably the possibilities that can happen within that space. All of these possibilities, I've created a scenario that I can accept the positive outcome of what can happen within that space. So do I need to go over there? Is it needed for me to go over there? Is it needed for me to go over here? Is it needed for me to do this? Is it needed for me to do that? No, so I'm not going to do that. No, so I'm not going to do that. What it's going to cause is that gap that's motherfucking needed. They're not going to learn what you sitting there. That's like, I don't like people that will sit there and have like this aspect and they go so hard in their thought process about their people. And there's such a uneven, you can tell the imbalance inside of them because it's like, nigga, let them do what the fuck they doing. Drop your shit off and keep walking on. If I like every Friday, I do a lecture, 8 p.m. until the next phase. The next phase is coming when I start doing the in-person lectures, and we're getting way more in depth than that energy. Every Friday, my mindset, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna let the spirit move how it needs to move. Every Tuesday at 6 a.m., I drop a podcast. I'm gonna let the spirit move the way it needs to move. Monday through Thursday, via Facebook Live and my Instagram, drop what the spirit needs me to drop, move how I need to move. Keep moving forward. There's no going back in the aspect of, there's no going back for me because in every time that I do something, it's to the fullest of my energy. Once I've dropped that charge, I don't have to do anything else. That charge is naturally going to do what it needs to do to that space. All I have to do is keep doing what I'm doing because I know this pattern and algorithm works. If something's not working based upon what I'm trying to get to, then I know I have to change the pattern. This happens externally, internally, in reflection and outside of yourself. When you're going into a level and you're dealing with somebody, you're dealing with something, it is not giving you what it needs. It's not giving you based upon the original agreement. That's what you first got to come into. That's what you first have to come into reality with. When you came into that situation, when you came into that space, what was the original agreement? What happened within the original first couple of months, days, weeks within that agreement, wherever you were at? What changed based on you being within that space, based on your growth? What happened within that space that changed the way that it grew and the way that you went forward? Okay, now look at that. When you look at that aspect, okay, this changed, this happened, this happened, this happened. I got this, and this. Based on me not doing this, and this anymore. So this changed and shifted to this. This area is still staying the same no matter how much I do different shit. It's going to remain the same based upon you doing the same fucking shit. When you actually start to elevate and evolve, it shifts from being unnoticeable to noticeable. You see it for what the fuck it is. From that aspect of seeing it for what it is, if it's not if it's not a catalyst to your desire, then you got to step the fuck forward. If it's not a catalyst for your desire and it's transcended, or you're transcended to a certain level, or it seems too distant, or it seems too hard, you're just trying to keep going back to this. If you find yourself continually trying to go back, but everything else seems so fucking distant, it's because you're stuck in between something. These are simple aspects of understanding yourself when you're working with your energy. You know exactly what the fuck you need to do. But your mindset is stuck in a program of what you already had and what you got at that point. So as that gap starts to show itself and that shit starts to look even larger, that path looks larger, the way that you got to that path, you're going to keep wanting to look for the same reasons to stay on that path. That's where that following shit comes from. My biggest thing is study all, follow none. There's no going back, and fuck them kids. 3 main aspects. Three of my biggest mantras. There's no going back, study all, follow none, and fuck them kids. I work through those chaos rhythms that I put together. Because in my mindset of studying all and following none, it allows me the ability to read everything. As I'm reading everything within the physical level, it brings charge to my purpose of when my spiritual sense of reading everything. So now that I can read everything up here and these abilities are online, now when I'm speaking and I'm moving, I'm reading everything on this level. I'm in alignment with that. The confidence to step forward is the humility to understand that you're in a new beginning. This is the new earth model. This is what's left on the physical level of earth. If you want to stay here, this is all you're going to get. You've already seen the worst of times and you've seen the end of time of this level of earth. This is all you're going to get. Another shutdown. You got to wear a mask. You got to do this, that, and the third. You got to keep doing this same bullshit down here to get something. That's what you're getting from down here. So what the fuck are you holding on to? Why are you steadily trying to find something to do? Because you're trying to find something to do externally because you're bored, because you're not doing the work that you need to do inside. I said it during the podcast this week. It is impossible to be bored. And then I took it to the next level and said it's asinine to be bored. And I'm not talking about like in the aspect you just sitting there and you like, nigga, I really have nothing to do. I'm talking about in the deeper aspect of it's asinine to be bored. It's impossible. It's not pliable to be bored. It's not pliable to be bored. It's because motherfuckers get bored because they're not used to being by themselves. They're used to having something to do. What this showed me, I was like, everything that's happened is based upon ego. You lost your job. You couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't put on pants. You couldn't put on your nice outfit. You couldn't go to the beach to get some water. You couldn't do these certain aspects. So you was mad. That was all based upon your ego. The only way that you feed your ego, say, I got to get somewhere, I got to do stuff, I got to do something, based on the lower level, now you got to subject yourself to something that's within that space in order for you to get a feeling. And then I always think about the Drake song, I'm always surrounded people, but I'm never ever alone, but I always feel alone. I always take that thought, I always think about that thought process. That process of thought in your mind is what you do now. Looking for something to do within this space that is a wasteland. Instead of actually doing what the fuck you need to do. Every time you feel like there's nothing to do, it's a reflection telling you there's something to do internally. I can take this time to work on this. This is how you start charging that. This is how you start charging yourself to be within that space that you want to go to next. Motherfuckers ain't working on themselves, taking selfies and pictures and all that shit, and trying to take all these trips and run away from the responsibility of themselves, of actually dealing with themselves, looking for something to take away that pain and feed them on that aspect. That's lower level succubus and that's lower level succubus and incubus. When you stuck on the aspect of feeding your fucking mundane aspect of yourself for not doing anything more than just standing there and expecting somebody to champion you, when all you're doing is truly just standing there, you haven't acquired anything, that's a false sense of entitlement. That's based upon infatuation. That's not fucking love. That's infatuation. That's the fear that if you change or you move out of a certain space, you're not going to be accepted for what the fuck you are. That's what the fuck you suffering from in this fucking level right now. Motherfuckers are suffering from that shit. Not being accepted because they don't know who the fuck they are. A motherfucker that fears who the fuck, not know who the fuck they are, always will gravitate toward trying to be accepted in some way, shape, or form. They're the most apologetic. They always trying to go to places. They're going to accept every phone call and every invite to every party just to say they don't want to go. But they'll say, yeah, I was invited. Just to, when you boiling your life down to I was invited to that too. Or I'm going to go just because I was invited. But I don't want to go by myself. Think of how mundane that is. Think about how mundane your life is when that's what the fuck you worried about. Instead of sitting down in your space and creating your space based upon your desire. You have to be within the space mindset of desire. Everything starts within your mind. Even the bacteria starts in your mind. That's what I was trying to get to earlier. Everything starts in your mind. Even the bacteria starts in your mind. Your body naturally creates mucus on the physical level. It manifests mucus to filter, to create a filter and a barrier to only let in what's already naturally within you, or to allow the adherence of things that are already naturally within you. So this is the way you have to start understanding your body. Whenever your body's full of fucking mucus, if you're in an acidic environment, you're in a toxic space, you're always going to you have to feed the toxicity. If the toxicity is within you, you have to feed the toxicity. How do you feed the toxicity? Everything from the food to the people that you go around. So everything within that frequency based on that toxicity is what you're connecting to. That's why when you go through that period of consciousness, when you become angry, the angry woke phase, and then you become the pious phase, there's a phase after. Those phases are fucking normal. I went through the angry nigga phase. I went through the angry woke nigga phase. That shit will never be documented on no tape, period. It will not be documented on no recording, period. Because that was a moment that I needed to be in solitude. And I understood I needed to be in solitude. I went through that Prudence phase in my consciousness. Never gonna be on fucking, because it was a process that I needed to go through. What you guys and guys are getting now is the motherfucking transcended version through both of those aspects. That's why I can go back and talk about those aspects, because I've already went through them. You can tell when somebody has not been through a certain process because they keep going back to the memories based on the other. They keep going back to this reciprocity or regurgitating information from that space, because that space that they fully know, but they don't understand. There's a difference between knowing something and understanding something. There's a difference between knowing some shit and understanding some shit. Knowing some shit there's a difference between understanding some shit and knowing some shit. You can have an understanding for how a car works. You can have an understanding for how a car works. But that does not mean that you can have an understanding about how a body or car works. But let the car get shut down somewhere. You don't know what the fuck happened until you go back into that understanding. And you're able to apply what you understand about the car working. That's how you come into your knowing. So you have to go through the process based upon the experiences to unlock your knowing. So all of the information that you grab, the mythos, the books, everything that you grab while you're sitting there trying to brainstorm and get through the storm, every test is within everything that you already been through. Your Akashic records, your DNA. It will not repeat itself. It only shall repeat itself until you understand it. It only will repeat itself until you understand it. This shit's only going to repeat itself until you understand it. If you're stuck within a space trying to understand some shit, guess why you're stuck in that space? Because you have not come into the true understanding. And then after you go through the understanding aspect, you have to come into the understanding of forgiving yourself for staying in that space for so long. And after you have that forgiveness, that's when you get the compassion. The compassion is based upon, does it serve me, does it not serve me? So now I can move freely through every realm, whether it serves me or not. That's the aspect that you need. This is the aspect that we needed to, this is what we need to come into coming into our higher reality of ourselves in order to keep shifting forward. You have transcended past the original paradigm. What you are seeing now are the results of you transitioning past the original paradigm. These are the results of the first ones going forward, that first wave. What you're seeing now is going to be now the second wave of motherfuckers going forward, and they're coming into their consciousness. You don't have to worry about them as long as you're doing your work. They're naturally going to have something to study. That's how the fellowship grows. That's how the revolution happens. Do your work. I'm gonna do my work, and we gonna keep going forward. Everything else is a fucking breeze. Everything else when you're truly in your work, when you're truly in your bag, when you're truly doing your shit, that may have been a shameless plug for my clothing site. Once you're in your bag, in your work, created your entity, created your platform, once you created your platform that you stand on and you work through, and you learn how to move your essence of light throughout your platform, you've done everything that you needed to do. You don't have to do anything else except for keep applying the knowledge, keep applying the work. Everything's naturally going to come as it needs to come. In order for you to be into alignment with it, you must create that mind. You must create the space in your mind for it to happen. Or else you're going to be filling up the same space. Man, all these bitches keep coming at me the wrong way. All these niggas keep having me the wrong way. You're not in your authentic self, so you're not going to see anything authentic. What truth does not need to be argued. Your truth does not need to be argued. What you stand in does not need to be argued. You are you for a reason. You are what you are as you are. You are what you are. I am self, I am law. In order to become the Lord means the law. And the Lord means the law. So in order for me to become the Lord, the law, I have to be, I am me. I am the Lord. I am my law. I am my truth. I am this body. I am the proprietor of this vessel, but I am not this vessel. Do what thou wilt. Until you start doing that shit, then you ain't really doing shit. Until you step into this mindset, you really ain't doing shit. You're going to keep getting them motherfuckers. You're going to keep hearing what you're going to start. This is actually what you're going to start hearing more of. And the spirit told me that shit. You're actually going to start hearing more of the same mundane rhetoric that's not going to challenge you in any way. I want you to fucking think. That's all I want you to do is fucking think. I want you to think great. I want you to think great. I want you to know great. I want you to become great. I want you to think great, know great, become great. I don't want anything less than that, because that's what I want of myself. That's what I want of myself, because that's what I want naturally for everybody around me. That's how you start the revolution. That's how you move the fuck forward. But you got to tap into that shit into yourself first. If you don't tap into that shit into yourself first, what are you really fucking doing? But do not be the 99 cents a day lady. Because that's what some of these niggas are. That's what some of these motherfuckers are. They're the 99 cents a day person. For 99 cents a day, add whatever the fuck they say they want to do. Meanwhile, on the other end, this nigga done made electricity for everybody. So what are you really doing? I have one more piece I wanted to say. Do. 1 second. Nope. Don't know what that is. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. I want to make sure I went over all the points that I needed to go over with you guys. Finding the points within my box. All right, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's what I want to say. Your doubt, your doubt in yourself is going to naturally transmute through your oppressions. The things that you repress of yourself, your true nature, truly what are truly to you, the things that you need to work on. Think about it like this. Just think about this in that closing. That person that you were when you were at your worst was actually the best and the truest version of you. The person that you were at your worst moment was the best version of you. It was the best version of you. The person I was at my lowest point, and I've had a couple of those, that is the best version of you. That is all of your weaknesses exposed. That is all of your ego diminished. That is all of your pride gone. That is the best version of you to learn from. Because you don't sell your strengths, you sell your weaknesses. But only when you know your true strength, you know your true worth. You don't sell your strengths, you sell your weaknesses. But only when you know your true strength do you know your true worth. So what are you going to do with it? What you going to do with the aspect of understanding what you got it? All that power that you have and you know where it's at. What are you going to do to cultivate that shit? What are you going to do to cultivate that power that's within inside you? What are you going to do to stand within that power and stand within that focus and become the best you? What are you going to fucking do? What are you going to allow to fall away as you're tapping into your higher self? What are you going to allow to be dismissed? Those are the burdens of your heart. I think I'm going to do a couple readings on Facebook and IG after I get all done with this. But yeah. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all support. Share, like, subscribe. Allow the information to do what it does. If it resonates with you, share it. Allow it to resonate with others. That's how you build that collective consciousness. Breaking away from that normal breaking away from what we have made normal and stepping into what to the humanity is going to call abnormal is the only way that we continue transitioning and going forward. Your connections are only built upon, your connections are no longer built upon the same paradigms based upon your identity. They're based upon your soul tribe, your light, your energy, your true worth, your true power, the true you. That's why now in your life, things are going on the way that they're going on, and you're seeing things for how they need to be seen because you're actually starting to see your worth. That's only a fraction of your worth. That's only a fraction of your power that you're tapping into. Imagine what happens once you go all the way. It's time to go all the way. You really need services? GottaCallAlchemistLLC.com. Email me at setcallandises@gmail.com. PapaLucy666 @gmail.com for the personal aspects. For the bookings, I'm actually looking for sponsors. If you want to rent ad space on my app, get in contact with me, setcallandises@gmail.com. On my app, I'm going to be creating, that's why I want to get into the business aspect. I'm creating my app for all of my content. Within my app, anybody that buys ad space within my app, I'm creating the marketplace factor in my app that will connect to what you are doing. Because as I said earlier on in the lecture, the felony may stop you from getting a job. So this humanity shit may stop you from getting a job and actually getting what you want, but it will not stop you from creating your own entity that is yourself. So email me at setcallandises@gmail.com. You can hit me the number at 910-777-7708. All that's in the description. That's why I can say it so fast. Hit me up on there if you're interested in that ad space, being part of that market space, to take that to go forward. What else was I saying? Services, readings, natal chart analysis and readings, tarot readings, services at your door, from spiritual baths. I create custom spiritual baths, custom candles, I do all that customized shit. That's the projects at your door. It starts at $50. You want to hit me up about that? Hit me up on that. We can get you into that aspect. Classes, counseling. Classes are coming soon. Counseling is up. $90, the best hour consultation of your life. I can guarantee that based on your intentions wanting to become the best you. Best $90 you're ever going to fucking spend. And we go from there. Share. Let the knowledge do what it's supposed to do. God Hour podcast. I don't know why I'm going so fast. I'm used to it because I do the podcast every week. God Hour podcast. Every day, every Tuesday at 6 a.m. drops new episode. Stay tuned for the next aspect, which will be the live radio show, the live video radio show coming soon. Cause we keep growing over here. I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know what they're doing over there, but we keep growing around here. That's the whole aspect of you. That's the whole aspect of me. That's the whole aspect of me with this entity to that main piece. I don't know what they're doing out there, but we grow around it. That's what you're doing. You grow around it. But yeah, I appreciate the donations and I appreciate the donations and the support on all levels, becoming a Patreon on the podcast, the donations through the Lucifer Somni Cash App link, becoming a subscriber to the website, the services. I do this for you. I do this for you because it helps me learn as you learn. I'm always open into that learning aspect. But yeah, I might do a couple weenie. I might do a nightcap on live on Facebook or on IG. I don't know which one yet. I might do a couple readings. But yeah. Tune in to tap out. Anything else is civilized. And we monsters. We monsters around. We gods around. We titans around. We don't do that civilized shit no more. I love y'all. We love us. Ashe.